Welcome back to the Daily Dose. I am Jeff Hansen. The show is brought to you by Give'emHellBrigham.com and by CougarSportsInsider.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Thank you for your support of the show so far. If you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, leave us a comment, hit the notification bell, all of those little things that help fuel the algorithm. That's what we're all about here at the Daily Dose. I appreciate your support so far. You guys have helped grow this platform a ton. Thank you in advance for your continued support. Today, let's start talking about actual football because actual football is really close to happening. Big 12 Media Days is just a couple of weeks away. Training camp, not fall camp, it's August. It's 100 degrees every day. Let's call it training camp and break this fall camp moniker. Training camp starts in just about a month. We're only a couple of months away from kickoff against Sam Houston State. Football season is just around the corner. And for really the last several months, BYU fans, we've all been talking about what we think we know about the roster. We're talking about individual players, expectations for those players, expectations for position groups and whole sides of the ball. We've talked about a lot of things. A lot of those things are projections. A lot of those things are guesses. A lot of those things, maybe we know a little bit based on historical success. So what I want to do today is I want to go through each position group on both sides of the ball and figure out if we know about that position group, if we think we know about that position group, or if we definitely don't know what to expect from that position group. And I think the answer is if we try to be objective, take off our blue goggles and our BYU fan hats, I think there's a lot more unknown about this BYU football team than most BYU fans want to admit. So let's start with the offensive line. We'll start on that side of the ball, and we'll start with the most known group. The offensive line, I think we know for sure what we're going to get out of the offensive line. Daryl Funk is back. Kingsley Suamataia is back. Connor Pay is back. Caleb Etienne, although he's new to BYU, we've got 13 games of him starting at left tackle at the Power 5 level that we can look at and we can know what to expect. We maybe don't know exactly who is going to plug in at what position, but I think by and large, we know enough about the talent in the offensive line room to know that whatever combination they end up in against Sam Houston State, I think we know to a relatively reasonable degree what to expect from the offensive line. I feel really good about BYU's offensive line. Are they going to be a top 10 unit in the country? I don't know if they're top 10, but certainly I think they're top 20, top 25. I think they have that capability, and I think they'll live up to that for sure. And I think based on the talent and the things that we do know, I feel pretty comfortable saying we know what to expect out of that group. The tight end position. I think we know what to expect out of the tight ends. In fact, the only things that we don't know about the tight ends is where the ceiling really is. Isaac Rex is back, and he's healthy. He maybe isn't 100%. That ankle injury was gnarly, but he's healthier than he was at any point last year. I think he's close to 100% if he's not. And so I think we are going to get a better Isaac Rex. Jackson Bowers is coming into the program. Ethan Erickson has been into the program for a little bit. Ray Paulo is coming into the program. I think we know what to expect for BYU's tight ends, and I think the floor is known. I think the floor is last year. BYU's added talent, and they've gotten healthier. I think we know what to expect from the tight end group. From the wide receiver spot, I think we know. I don't know if we know, but I think we know what we're getting out of the wide receivers. And really, that's all based on Cody Epps, Keanu Hill, and Chase Roberts. After those three, we don't know much about this wide receiver group. But those three, that's going to be the bread and butter. That's the foundation of the wide receiver unit. And I think we know what we're going to get from those three because we've seen it for multiple years. Beyond that, we really don't have any clue. So if Epps or Roberts or Hill, if they were to go down to a serious injury in fall camp, they were going to have to miss most of the season. This is a pretty unknown wide receiver group. There's reasons to feel optimistic. I like Keelan Marion. I like Darius Lassiter. I think Parker Kingston steps up. JoJo Phillips has been working incredibly hard to get into game shape and steal some early reps as a true freshman. There's reasons to be optimistic, but I don't think we have any clue what to really expect behind those top three. So I think we know what we're going to get from the wide receiver spot, but that's really close. At the quarterback position, if we're being honest with ourselves, BYU fans, we definitely don't know what to expect from the quarterback group. Let's start at the bottom of the depth chart. Cade Fennegan has been in the program for a few years now. I still could not tell you what Cade Fennegan is capable of doing on a week in and week out basis. Ryder Burton played at a really tough offense at Springville High School. He showed some flashes during the spring scrimmage that's like a spring-ish scrimmage because they weren't playing like a real game and everything was very vanilla. So it's hard to really draw too many conclusions. There's reasons to feel optimistic. Again, Ryder Burton showed that he's got the talent, he's got the arm strength, but we don't know what Ryder Burton's going to do when the lights are on inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. Jake Retzloff, we've heard wonderful, wonderful things about Jake Retzloff. There's lots of reasons, again, to be optimistic, but we have no clue what Jake Retzloff is going to do at the Division I level. We've only seen him at high school and at the JUCO level, and he was great there, but we don't know what he's going to do. And when it comes to Keaton Slovis, we think we know what we're going to expect. BYU fans, I think almost universally, agree that Keaton Slovis is going to be closer to USC Slovis than Pitt Slovis. But we don't know that. I mean, beyond the idea that the Aaron Roderick's offense is closer to what Graham Harrell was running at USC than whatever they were running at Pitt last year, other than that, we really don't know. There are lots of reasons to feel optimistic. The coaches certainly like what Slovis did during spring ball, but we just don't know. So I think as a whole, I don't know how we could look at the BYU quarterback room and honestly say to ourselves, we know what to expect. We definitely don't. The running back room, I think we know. I think we know what to expect. We've seen Aiden Robbins do it at a high level, although it was only for 1 year and it was in the Mountain West. I think we know what we're going to get from Aiden Robbins. Deion Smith, if you have these illusions that he's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher and a bell cow back for BYU, you're probably a little bit off. But looking at what he's done during his career at Colorado, I think BYU's got a really nice backup running back, a really nice change of pace guy who's going to be good for 400 or 500 yards. He's done it at the Power 5 level, and he's done it with an offensive line that was among the worst in the country. I think we know about Deion Smith. Beyond them, we've seen enough from Hinckley Rapati to have an idea of what to expect. We've seen enough from Miles Davis to have an idea of what to expect. We haven't seen enough from either one of them in a continued role where they're getting a lot of carries to know that they can handle that. But I think we've seen enough to say, yeah, I feel comfortable. I think we know what to expect from the running backs. So on the offensive side of the ball, the only group that we really don't know what to expect from this fall is the quarterback position. And for better or worse, that could make or break BYU's entire season. Flip over to the defensive side of the ball, where there's a lot more unknown. The defensive line, we definitely don't know. We know that BYU and Sione Puha have been working really hard. They like Naisa Mahe. He's healthy, and Coach Puha really thinks that Naisa Mahe is going to take a step forward. We know that Tyler Batty is bigger and stronger and faster than he's ever been, and we know that he's been working hard with this coaching staff to work on getting after the quarterback and creating havoc. We know that Snow College transfer David Latu is highly, highly regarded inside that BYU coaching room. BYU thinks they've got somebody special there, and he could play a very big role, make a very big impact for BYU this year. There's lots of pieces, I guess, to feel comfortable with and to feel confident about, but as a whole, we have no idea what to expect. There are still very reasonable questions being asked about whether BYU should have added more bodies. Should they have brought in more than just Jackson Cravens and Isaiah Banya? Maybe they should have. Or was it really so much of the coaching scheme under Elisa Tuiaki that led to poor defensive line play? We don't know. So I think across the entire room, we definitely don't know what to expect from this defensive line. Moving to the linebackers, we don't know what they're going to look like exactly, but I think we know what kind of impact they're going to make. We've seen enough from Max Tooley and Ben Bywater to know who they are. We've seen enough from AJ Vongphachon at Utah State to know exactly who he is. In fact, somebody told me, an offensive player told me that AJ Vongphachon might be the best player he's ever gone up against. That dude can play. It's time to start getting really excited about AJ Vongphachon's impact on BYU. Think if he would have come out of high school and signed with BYU and BYU would have won out of a top three that had Minnesota, South Carolina, and BYU, fans would be really, really excited about AJ Vongphachon. But because he was a transfer portal guy from Utah State, I think he's kind of slid under the radar. But this dude can flat play. It's time to be really excited about him. Beyond that, we know Harrison Taggart. If Chaz Ayu is healthy, we know what to expect from him. Micah Kafusi, Ace Kafusi, although we haven't seen them, it feels like we have because there's been so many other Kafusis. I think we know what to expect from the linebacker room. I feel pretty confident in that. At the cornerback spot, we think we know what we're going to get. We don't know for sure, but we think we know. Jacob Robinson, that's a known commodity. Eddie Heckard, pretty confident in who Eddie Heckard is going to be. He is making a jump, playing at Weber State and playing in the Big 12. That's two very different leagues, levels of competition. I think he can make that jump, and I think he can do it pretty seamlessly, but we'll see. We don't know that yet. And same goes for Camden Garrett, who I believe is going to be another starter at the cornerback spot. We just don't know yet. We haven't seen it. Lots of reasons to feel confident, but we don't know. And Marcus McKenzie as well. I think he's right there in the mix. Will be in the 2 deep at the cornerback spot. I think we know what we're going to get from him. He's going to be one of the fastest guys on the roster. He's got the genes to be very good at football. He was productive at Pineview High School when he was in high school. I think we know what we're going to get from Marcus McKenzie, but we've never seen it on the field. I think we know across the cornerback room what we're going to see. We just got to see it to really solidify that opinion. And finally, the safety group. We know what we're going to get from these safeties. I really believe that this safety room is as deep as BYU has had a safety room in as long as I can remember. Malik Moore, Micah Harper, Raider Demooney, Talon Alfrey, those are 4 guys who are studs. And in some combination, they're going to lead the safety unit. I feel great. I definitely think we know what we're getting out of the BYU safeties. And finally, it comes to the coaching staff. I think we know, but really, if you break it apart, we know what we're going to get from the offense, and we definitely don't know what we're going to get from the defense. As a whole, I think we know what we're going to expect. But when we look at this defensive coaching staff, we're all expecting improvement. We're all expecting aggressiveness. We're all expecting a lot of things. We've never seen it. We've never seen Jay Hill coordinate a defense at the Power 5 level. We just haven't. We've never seen Sione Puha or Kelly Papinga work with the talent that Ed Lamb and Elisa Tuiaki had brought into the program. We've never seen it. We've never really seen this defense in action. We've never seen the game plan. We've never seen what the play calls look like. We've never seen this rendition of a coaching staff make halftime adjustments. We don't know really anything about the defensive coaching staff. We think we know a lot, but we really don't if we take off our blue goggles. We have no idea what to expect. The offensive side, yeah, we know. We've seen this coaching staff in some flavor for the last 5 years at BYU. Pretty confident in what the offensive coaching staff is going to do. Overall, I think we know. If we take off our hats and our BYU hats and we look at this roster, there's a lot more unknown than I think we realize, but I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. I'm looking forward to this season. I think BYU is going to really surprise some people, and I'm looking forward to finally getting some answers so that we know what to expect from BYU week in and week out. Thank you so much for your support of the show. Until next time, give them hell.